Hello everyone, welcome to my video. We will be discussing important points related to software testing, which is an important topic for exam perspective. In this, various key terms will be going to use. So make sure to note down the names and the hierarchy. Starting with the definition of software testing. So what do you mean by software testing? Software testing just means that it is the process of checking whether the software application work as expected. It involves providing the program with a set of test inputs that are also known as test cases and observing the result. What is the behavior of the output based on various test cases that we are using? Some in some cases we are using like false test cases which we want to get the error. Sometimes we are getting the true test cases. We define different types of test cases. It is basically decided by the tester or testing unit in the software development process. If the program does not behave as expected, we caught the conditions where it fails. We make note of the each and every condition where the test case or the a program has been failed. These details help developers debug and fix the issues later. So, based on the testing, it can be categorized like on based on two terms: verification and validation. So, there is a key difference between the verification and validation term. Verification means कि like are we building the product right? Like we are going on the best process, we are following every parameter, are we like following, we are making the product right? In case of Whereas in case of validation process, the definition includes that are we building the product, are we building the right product? Well, it should be like fulfill the criteria or the requirements of the user end for whom we are building the project or the product. So verification means are we building the product right? In case of validation, the definition means are we building the right product? So verification means product right, validation means right product. So verification ensures that the software meets the business requirements and that every phase of development aligns correctly with the previous one. On the other hand, validation ensures that the final product meets the user needs and expectation. For instance, verification checks if the design documents correctly implements the requirement, while validation check if the actual software satisfy what the user wanted. Moving on to some key terms, there is a basic difference like a small difference between error, bug, and failure. Error means like syntax error if we like forget put a comma somewhere, some brackets somewhere, or semicolon in case of C programming. So it is like some common type of errors, small levels, small level errors. So when the error occurs, a fault has been occurred. Well, like bug, if we finding an error, then it is called bug. If bug occurs when only the error exists in the code, and when we are talking about the failure happens when the software cannot perform its intended function due to a bug, like a system crash, or cannot getting a proper output, or the system fails. Testing can be of two types: manual and automated testing. In automated testing, specialized tools are used to run tests automatically, saving time and improving accuracy, especially for repeated or large scale tests. Whereas in case of manual testing, tester executes this test manually without using any tool and scripts. You can easily get an idea through the names manual and automated. Other high level or the important topics, that is types of testing or level of testing. First is the basic one, the unit testing. Then we go move on to integration testing, then validation testing, and final system testing. So in case of unit testing, it is the first level of functional testing. So it is performed after a module is coded and reviewed successfully. When we like testing the software or the product unit wise, suppose one unit consists of addition. Suppose we are testing the calculator program. So one function consists of like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. When we individually testing the each units or each module of the product is called unit testing. When we integrating the like some modules like subtraction and division, we are combining, or multiplication and like fraction or division, like and three components we are combining, that is called like integrated testing. So to check whether the like each unit is compatible to other unit or not, we are combining, so that we can check that yeah, our product is working right if we are working on different kind of like product or units. So this is called integration testing. And the final is system testing. Validation testing is nothing like validation testing is simple, like the how to validate or to test on some like case it's working well or not. It is not much important. Next is system testing. It, the word says, we are checking the complete system as a whole, whether like we are checking at the end the calculator is working fine or not, at the end at the high level programming, then it is called system testing. These are the like this is the hierarchical diagram. The basically main focus is on these three levels of testing. The diagram, the unit testing is like focus on more on code, ki how the code is working. In case of integration testing, the main focus goes on designing, whether the how the designing goes to each unit after integration. In case of validation testing, in case of validation testing, the main focus is gone to requirements. In case of system testing, the system engineering is done. So, unit testing, integration testing, and system testing are kind of functional testing, because we are mainly focused on the how the system works, how they are functioning, whether they are correct or not. It's basically related to the code part. Whereas performance, portability, load, and stress testing, that we will be discussing in the next slides on the next topics. So you get an idea. So it's like a 1 mark question can be come from this. Okay, performance, portability, load, and testing are kind of non-functional testing. We cannot test whether like implement something into the code, how they can be increased. They are like non-functional type of testing. So in unit testing, it starts with like the unit testing is the most and first basic level of the testing procedure. Here, individual modules or components of the software are tested in isolation. The goal is to like verify that each symbol or the small part of the code work as intended. That it should be working in isolation. It does not impact the working of other units, or not be affected by the other units. For examples, testing a simple single function like user logging or data input validation. The main key points are that it is performed by like developers using tools JUnit, NUnit, or PyTest that are not important for the UGC net exam. You can just get a basic idea how the unit testing works and what is unit testing. So here you can see like stub module is given, driver module is given. So stub module is like a dummy procedure that has same input output parameters as the given procedure, but has a highly simplified behavior. For example, a stub procedure may produce expected behavior using a simple table lookup mechanism, whereas the driver module contains the non-local data structure assessed by, assessed by module under test, and would also have the code to call the different function of the module with appropriate parameter values. It means that it's like a dummy procedure we followed in the stub module, and the driver module consists of a higher module or other higher parameter. It's like a non-local data type of structures. This type of components are used in unit testing. Next is integration testing. It consists of four parts, divided into four different type of testing. First is top-down testing, bottom-up testing, integration testing, and lastly smoke testing. So integration testing means once all the modules are tested, they are combined and tested together in a integration testing that I already discussed. This level focuses on checking the data flow and communication between different modules. For instance, when you test if the login module connects properly with the user dashboard or database. So what is like bottom up and top down testing, we are discussing this next. Okay, in top down testing we go from you can think of we are going from units to the integrated modules. It's like bottom up testing when we are going from bottom level to the upper level, like we are going from stubs the normal different stubs driver stubs to drivers part. And the top down testing goes in the reverse, when we take a whole integrated module and then going to like small parts or small units. It is like we are going from drivers to the stubs part, then it is called like top down testing. Next is the regression testing. In case of regression testing, so in case of regression texting, we put if we put any updation, we check it can impact in negative way to the product or not. Suppose when a software is updated, then with new code features or functionalities, suppose it is tested thoroughly to detect is there any negative impact of added code. Suppose if we add any update the version of our application or the software, we can when we checking that whether the this new update has any negative impact or it can lead to failure, this type of testing is called regression testing. Next is smoke testing. It is used when software product is rebuilt with new added components and smoke test every day. Like in regression testing, we do the testing at the final part when the full updation has been done. In case of smoke testing, we are adding new components on a daily basis, like in a new games or new things they are adding, and we perform it on daily basis. Next, the foremost important testing is system testing. The system testing is further divided into these categories: functional, performance, portability, security, and recovery testing. Last, going with recovery testing. The recovery testing is, you can get it from the name, that recovery testing is like to test the system abilities to recover from failure. Like we are checking whether the system can be recovered from the failure or not. It is robust to the failures. In this case, we are doing the recovery testing. In security testing, we are checking whether the system is secured or not to a particular attack. It can handle the different type of attacks or not, like in the various attack vectors such as man in the middle or number of attacks. In case of portability testing, I'm going from backward because these are the easy terminologies, so we can cover the and focus on the main type of testing. So that is functional testing. So for portability testing, we are checking whether the, like suppose we built an app for Android application, so it is portable or it is compatible to the Android Mac or other Linux system or not. So it is like how it is compatibly work between the different types of devices or not. It is called portability testing. Next is the performance testing. The performance testing is further divided into two types of testing, which is called load testing and testing. I think I perform. Yes, I provide a chart for this. The performance testing is basically divided into two categories: load testing and testing. In load testing, we are checking that how many users that our device or the product can handle. Suppose we build a product or application for 1,000 users, and we are just checking that it can handle the 1,000 users or not at the same time. For in case of whereas in the case there is a minute difference between load testing and testing. In setting, we are checking the number of the users the system can handle at the same time before breaking down. We are like stretching the product capability or the scalability at the very end. We are testing in load testing. We are checking the how many users a system can handle at the same time, and in the stress testing, the main last difference is that we are testing the number of users that the system can handle at the same time before the breakdown happens. Clear my point? Okay, like we are not going to the last point or the breakdown points in case of load testing, whereas we are going from like breakdown point, we have to reach the threshold point in case of testing. This is an important type of testing which is called functional testing. It is used to like test the functionality of the program. It is a like of black box testing where we just are focusing on the output and the input part. We are not considering about the how the implementation goes, where the what inside the like box is going on, how the code works. We are just like focusing on inputs and outputs. This is called black box testing. There is another type of testing is called testing, which is called white box testing. In testing, we are focusing how the like internal flow works. So you can clear from the name. In case of black box, you can imagine a black box where you just focusing on input and output, what is going in and what is going out. In white box texting, we are just focused like white box is given. You can like you can imagine as a transparent box. Like you can go through the part how the code works. So first we discuss the black box texting, and then we discussed white box. The functional testing or black box testing is further into like six categories, which is huge number and which is an important for the like exam purpose. First is the equivalence testing. Suppose like they are same kind of inputs belongs like we are building an app for the users where the users categories are divided among like young, adult, or old age, and the students or the like middle age or school kids. Yeah, like smaller kids. We are dividing the test cases based on this criteria. Different type of classes we are testing our product based on various categories, such as for different for young, adult. We are testing for different type of classes and like combining this type of classes and passing it at one time. Suppose in first phase we are testing for it adult, in second phase we are testing it for young. So you can easily check we are uh, testing for like different classes. Next is boundary value analysis. Boundary value we can easily understand from the name that min or max value. When we are talking about, we are checking like if the code is working for min value or max value, so we can assume that our code is working fine. So next type of testing is acceptance testing. So through this, the tester makes sure that software works correctly for intended users. We are mainly focused on for user perspective, that it works well for the user. It is also known as validation testing, which we discussed previously. So we are just focusing on the user perspective. This type of testing is performed by user and users. So the question can be come from like, which type of testing is performed by the user end, where the developers are not involved. Developers are involved to provide an environment or to provide a like support to the user, but here the mainly the testing is done by the user end or the customer. Suppose we are doing the testing. This type of testing is again divided into two categories: alpha testing and beta testing. In case of alpha testing, there is a control environment while doing the testing. The complete version of the software tested by customer under the supervision of the developer at the developer side. So alpha testing is performed at the developer side. It is done by the customer only, but under the supervision of the developer. So developer is like monitoring whether the customer is not getting any problem, whether the customer like doing the tasks or the what problems he or she is facing. So it is a alpha testing. Next is a beta testing. As you usually आप सुनते हो, you can listen in the use that this beta version of this app is released. Here the beta version, you can easily get this name that real, it is performed in real world environment, so that we can check whether the it is working fine in the real world or not if before deploying the app. So it is tested in real world environment. So complete version of the software tested by customer at his own site without the presence of the developer. Developer is not involved in this type of testing. So the question may come,